なんだ。
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series, the Unported playlist, where we take a look at now 21 of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're taking a look at a personal favorite, Lupin the Third, The Shooting, running on the Sega Naomi hardware. Is this the best light gun game ever made? It isn't, but I love Lupin the Third, and the game's really good, so for me, this is a personal pick. I'm a huge fan of the Lupin animation, even though I'm not really an anime fan, but as far as this game's concerned, it does everything that I really need from an arcade release to have a lot of fun and longevity with it. Because even though right now it looks like a traditional light gun game, each stage is its own vignette, and it pulls from the entire animation, television, and film history of Lupin itself, so that each stage is based around one scene from one episode or film that Lupin was involved in. And off the top here, it is very traditional light gun. Enemies pop up, you have to hit them to progress, and you're competing against the timer. But in different stages, you may be doing things like steering a car through a car chase with a gun. And you'll see more of that as it comes up, but it's very similar in feel to the Point Blank series if you ever played that, where each stage has its own unique hook, so that the action doesn't start feeling repetitive or boring. And that's what I love about this game. Definitely never came out in the US, it's a Japanese exclusive. Pretty much all the dialogue is in Japanese, all the text is in Japanese, but you don't need any language skills to enjoy the game. It's very easy to play and to emulate. So I definitely highly recommend, if you're a fan of Lupin, 100% check it out because it's one of the best games in that franchise series. And if you're not a fan of Lupin but you like arcade light gun games, I also recommend you check it out because it has everything that I'm looking for in a game to have fun. So that's what I really appreciate about it. You don't really hear much about it, honestly, though. Even in games from the Sega Naomi, which was based on the Dreamcast hardware, that weren't ported, this game doesn't really come up in conversation. You'll see I ran out of time there, and we're flying to another stage, and each stage is its own self-contained capsule of gameplay. What we're going to be seeing here is there's going to be these different missiles coming at us, and I do love that you get those little anime intros and this Japanese kanji text popping up. The game has a ton of style, just like the animated series does. But as opposed to trying to hit, enemies that are popping up that are really easy, all you need to do is destroy 3 missiles coming at you. But they're moving erratically, they're bouncing around the screen, everything is difficult. And if you fail this stage, you're going to have to put another credit into the system, and you're going to have to replay it. Some stages you have to pass to be able to get to the next stage. Some you can just run out of time, and you can take, 1 health down towards that next continue. And I do like that the game isn't brutally challenging. These levels are hard, but if you play them once or twice, they're not going to be that bad, and you don't have to keep dumping credits in over and over again, because you are allowed to just fail sometimes. And you'll see that we pass that stage, and we get that awesome little animation, and like I said, this game just exudes style. It's got a great soundtrack, it's got a great vibe to it. And then we get to a stage like this. We get this nice anime intro from one of the Lupin series, but then as we transition into it, we're going to realize that we're not actually playing a light gun game in the traditional sense. You have a steering wheel. If you shoot at the right side of the screen, you go to the right. If you shoot at the left side of the screen, you go to the left. So you're making these split-second reactions to avoid running into cars and taking damage. If you do it really well, it feels seamless. If you do it poorly, you're going to be burning another credit off. But I love the fact that this game doesn't just take one gameplay style and run with it. It takes a whole bunch of different sort of feeling arcade games and combines them together to create one game itself. And that's why I compare it a lot to Point Blank, because some stages had shoot 50 ninjas, other stages had shoot one little tiny fly flying around the screen. But it gave you enough diversity where you didn't get bored with it. It felt like it was giving you something new and something fresh every single stage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of the game. This next stage is awesome, and we'll come back and talk more about Lupin the Third, The Shooting. But enjoy shooting some vampires.
そんなこと言ってる場合か？後ろ見ろ。
And unfortunately, we ran out of time, and I will say that some of the stages feel quite difficult to complete within that time frame. Although granted, I am not playing this with a light gun, it is being emulated. So that's kind of the difficulty in these sort of things. I don't have a PC-based light gun to be able to play them with, so I'm using alternative controls. So your mileage may vary depending on how you decide to play this, but I definitely think it's worth playing no matter how you control it. Because if you like light gun games, you're definitely going to love this. If you like Lupin, you're going to love this. And these are the type of experiences I wish we got some more of. I mean, granted with, VR right now, PSVR and all the other headsets, some of these light gun feeling games are coming back, and I definitely love that. But these have this gigantic nostalgic feeling for me, because when I was in high school and before that, these type of light gun games were what I really gravitated towards in arcades. I've always loved fighting games, racing games, but the light gun shooting games are always what I've been a fan of. And I love this kind of pseudo Indiana Jones chasing the boulder down the hallway, and now we have to fight a tank. And that's where I think this game really shines, is it's always throwing something new at you, it's always changing up the level structure, so that from one stage to the next, it never feels like you're playing the same repetitive stages. Now I love stuff like Time Crisis, but towards the end of those games, after playing 30 minutes of just shooting the bad guy, I can sometimes zone out a little bit. I don't go back to those as much. Where games like Lupin the Third, The Shooting, or Point Blank, I can play these games once a month, get some challenge in, play some stages, and really feel fulfilled. And this is one game that I have been looking for my personal collection for a long time now. I just haven't been able to find a copy in working order. It's not rare, but it's definitely uncommon, but it won't cost you a ton if you find it. But if you do have a cabinet with a dedicated light gun attached to it, I really would recommend picking this game up because it has something for everybody, and if you enjoy the Lupin animation series, then you're definitely going to enjoy it. And you'll see here that that statue has been taken down, and you get those little vignettes of the animation from where the level inspiration came from. So if you're a fan and you've seen them before, it's just a little extra for you to check out. And now moving on to the next stage here. Basically what it is this is a precision stage, and the game has different types of stages. It has the shoot all the enemies that pop up sort of stage, it's got the driving stage, but now you're looking at 4 mannequins, one opens up, and you have like a second and a half to be able to shoot them before they attack you and do damage. So it's really a quick draw stage. And I like that the game's able to slow itself down and basically be able to change up the gameplay, and all of a sudden the challenge isn't shoot everybody before they shoot you, it's be able to quickly identify and quick draw your gun to shoot the right person in the stage, those mannequins. So it's fun that it changes things up in a way that gives you kind of that versatility, and I think that's what I really like about the game. But like I said, it's definitely a deeper cut. You're not going to hear about this game mentioned in many circles. I mean, if you're a huge light gun fan, maybe you know about it, but if you like light gun games and you haven't played it yet, definitely play it because it is one of my favorites, not just because it is based on an anime franchise that I really enjoy, but also just that it's a really good shooting game. And that's what the big takeaway is that you're going to have a lot of fun with it. It makes perfect sense why this was never ported home though. I mean, it came out after the Dreamcast had left the retail market. It's based on a Japanese anime series that really isn't all that popular in the US, so I can just see why this was an arcade release and was never ported home. With a lot of the games on this series, I'm kind of questioning why they wouldn't have given this to us. But in this instance, I really am just showing a game that I really love. But as far as why it didn't get ported to a home console is concerned, that makes perfect sense to me. It just didn't have the market. Maybe in Japan it would have done well, but the Xbox was the console where a lot of the Naomi games were ported to, and since that's not a huge market in Japan, really, are you going to release a niche game on a niche platform? You're never going to make your money back. So this is more one of those dream list items that I wish did get ported home so it was a little bit easier to play, but I 100% get it. Lupin the Third, The Shooting, didn't have a market at home, and I wish they'd given it a better title because that is a mouthful. But if you like Lupin, if you like light gun shooting games, if you like sort of that arcade, stagey feel to things, definitely check this out. I highly recommend it. It is a personal favorite. But short of that, that was Lupin the Third, The Shooting. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you could do us a huge favor, go down below and hit like and subscribe, because it does take a long time to make each and every one of these episodes for you guys. We'll be back on Tuesday with another episode in our mainline series. We'll be back on Friday as well, and next Sunday we will have another entry in the Unported playlist. Short of that, we hope you enjoyed this. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the guy in the helicopter. Bye-bye.
大成功大成功